Greeting to Setoni Persibangang. My name is ASMIDA binti SAMSUDDIN and I will be the first presenter. In the introduction, I will present about the features of federalism, concept of federalism, and history of federalism. Federalism is a form of government in which two or more bodies share power over the same geographical area. Besides, power will be split between the national government and other government units. This means that in Malaysia, power is shared between the federal government. The first features of federalism in Malaysia has two forms of government. It is divided into two systems, namely federal and state. Although the federal constitution gives the federal government significant powers over state administrative concern, however, the state government has the authority to enact some provision in the administration that is under its jurisdiction. Besides, the features of federalism is having a division of power based on written constitution. It is concerned with government function in which the government has the independent control over at least one area. The federal government follows the principle of separation of power. It is composed of three branches, which is executive, legislative, and judiciary. The next feature is two governments have a direct relationship with their people and their legitimacy is approved. Malaysia is a country that practices a federal constitution monarchy system. Therefore, elections are held at the national government for membership in the House of Representatives, while state elections are held for membership in different state legislatures. Concept of Malaysian federalism. Malaysia is a federation of 30 states and 3 federal territories. There is a division of government whereby there is a federal government and a state government in each region or state. At the federal level, there is a bicameral parliament comprised of the House of Representatives, the Dewan Rakyat. The federal and state government share legislative authority, where the concerned lists become the third list, which cover 14 regions. There is also an additional state list for Sabah and Sarawak, which include things such as indigenous law and ports and harbors. In summary, the federal and state government share authority in the legislative, executive, judiciary, and financial domain. The history of Malaysian federalism. The establishment of the Federation of Malaya in 1948 led to Malaya's independence on August 31, 1957. One of the main objectives of the Malayan Constitution is to build a strong and stable federal government. The objective of the Commission is to recommend a Malayan Constitution based on democratic parliamentary government. Tengku Abdul Rahman officially declared the Federation of Malaya's independence on August 31, 1957, and the draft began to act as a legal document. The British government supported the nation of combining Malaya, Singapore, Sabah and Sarawak, and Brunei under the Federation of Malaysia. Besides, the outcome of negotiation between the Federation and in 1961, the Malayan and British government established a commission to hear the views of the people of Sabah and Sarawak. The United Sabah People Party opposed to creation of Malaya, while Sarawak agreed to enter or join the Malaysian Federation on their demands are met. However, the United Kadazan National Organization supported Malaysia's formation, believing that it will strengthen Southeast Asian security.
Hello, my name is Norsahiran. I will explain about the first factors of succession Malaysia federalism, which is Malaysia Constitution. Malaysia Constitution is a written constitution that contains 15 sections, 183 articles, and 13 schedules. And this written constitution was created based on two previous versions, which are the Independence Constitution 1957 and the Malayan Federation Agreement of 1948. Some of the provision that contains in this written constitution that Malaysia citizens must follow is the article, like Article 5 of Human Rights. No one may be held as slavery in Article 6, the freedom of religion in Article 11, and many more. There is also Section 3 that consists of the termination of the citizenship, states, and religion, and Section 2 that of this written constitution that give priorities to the people's fundamental rights. Hence, this contributes to Malaysia's success under the federalism system, since it allows everyone in the nation come together under one constitution. Malaysia is a country that is multi-ethnic, multicultural, and multilingual. but those ethnic groups still maintain their separate cultural identities. And Malaysia managed to stay united despite the presence of different religions and races in the country. Thus, this is the reason that makes the country name present in every corner of the world. To conclude on the explanation of the first factors, it can be said that this constitution has been quite successful in promoting federalism in Malaysia. Not just that, due to the existing of this written constitution, it is continued to be amended and used by the government as the guide to the Prime Minister administration, state, territory, social right, and others area, as Malaysia is consists of two regions which are Peninsular Malaysia and East Malaysia. That's all. Thank you.
Greetings to Sutoni. My name is FADZREEN binti ZAMANI. My student ID 2021107685. I would like to present my part, which is the second factor of the succession of the Malaysia Federalism system, which is the mutual defense of national security. A transition or succession of power within the federal system is referred to the mutual defense of national security in the succession of the Malaysian federalism system, and it refers to the cooperative efforts made by the federal government and state governments of Malaysia to safeguard to the country's security and stability. In Malaysia, the federal government is in charge of the things pertaining to national security and defense. Also, the state governments are each responsible for maintaining peace and order within their respective regions. The importance of ensuring that national security is not threatened during succession events is a change of federal leadership or a transition of power cannot be disputed. The federal and state governments must keep channels of communication open and cooperate throughout this time. The federal government should collaborate closely with state authorities to keep an eye out for any potential threats to national security and to uphold law and order all across the nation through its security organization like the Royal Malaysian Police, the military forces, and intelligence services. In order to facilitate a seamless transfer of power, the federal government may also work with the state governments, offering the support, intelligence sharing, and coordination that may be required to reduce any security threats that might emerge during the succession process. During the transition of the Malaysian federalism system, it is crucial for both the federal and state government to retain the values of mutual trust, respect, and cooperation. This guarantees that the interests of national security are put first and that the transfer of power takes place in a way that causes the least amount of disruption and protects the welfare of the country and its citizens. Hence, the federal government and the state government share responsibilities for national security under the federalism system of Malaysia. To ensure national security, particularly in sectors like defense, internal security, and international affairs, the federal government has the primary power and obligation. Cooperation and coordination between the federal government and state government are necessary for the mutual defense of national security in the Malaysian federalism system. Although the state government collaborate with the federal government to handle security issues and safeguard the nation as a whole, the federal government has primary responsibility for maintaining national security.
I'm SYAHRINA and I will be presenting about the collaborative work of the Federation. Federalism is a country that has been ruled by a leader to become successful. In Malaysia, the 9 Sultan of each state control their respective state and are managed by Yang di-Pertuan Agong with the Prime Minister advice. Malaysia's success in federalism is due to the Federation willingness to collaborative economic, particularly on a national development and joint effort. Besides that, Malaysia is a united country with a confident society with a strong moral and ethical values, democratic, powerful. Furthermore, Malaysia divides between the federal, state, and the local government levels of administration. Government duties are detailed in the constitutions. However, most areas were administered by the federal government, limiting the state ability to begin and manage socio-economic or infrastructure development effort, and a revenue growth is limited. To revive federalisms, federal, state, and local governments will be collaborative more. Federalist principle from the 9th schedule of the federal constitutions will be used through the plan. Those concepts clearly define federal state power. State government will get transportation, infrastructure, social support, agriculture growth, and environmental protection. in Sabah, Sarawak, Kelantan, Terengganu, Kedah, and Perlis will also receive development financing first to balance such economic growth. Strong collaboration between federal and state governments will further such economic growth in Sabah, Sarawak, Kelantan, Terengganu, Kedah, and Perlis. Strategy will focus on developing coordinated ecosystem and increasing public service delivery. This is critical for strengthening the government and meeting the requirement of the people. Lastly, this trade federal-state coordination to promote sustainable and a balanced regional development. In order to promote regional planning and cooperation, the duties of important governmental agencies will be minimized. All regional development organizations, regional economic corridor authorities, and a state economic planning department will be required to participate. State government plan simplicity will support federal development aims. Smart Selangor Action Plan 2025, Plan Induk Terengganu Sejahtera 2030, and Police Digital Plan 2021 until 2025 will also feature national goals for digital transportation. State efforts such as the strengthening of a logistical service should be coordinated with important federal development programs. Those alignments will improve development planning, balancing regional expansion. That's all from me, thank you. And the next presenter will be NURUL.
Hi everyone, my name is NURUL binti AZMAN and I will presenting about practice of wise and negotiable leadership is one of the factors for success federalism. There is a wise leadership and negotiable force to ensure the smooth and orderly operation of the system. A leader must possess the practice, knowledge, and will enable him to articulate answer to issue, in addition to the ability to persuade others. Other than that, leader must comprehend the true role that must be played in fostering peace and unity, particularly while forming government. Effective leadership requires a shift in perspective. Successful leader will be able to adapt their behaviors and decisions to make the complexity they are faced with, in addition to being able to recognize the context in which they are operating in any time given. According to Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Tun Pehin Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud said, all leaders need to have extraordinary wisdom and courage in dealing with challenges and managing the various demands of the society nowadays. Leaders should have both of those qualities because Sarawak and Sabah has many races, religion, and different demands that need to be met. Tun Dr. Mahathir insists not information, not knowledge, but the ability and freedom to make decisions based on information and knowledge will make a person or a country progress and comparable with other nations. All this cannot be made by people, individuals. Decisions must be discussed and shared collectively. In this case, the leader who play a role in bringing wisdom smart, rich, and a great word. As for example, Tunku Abdul Rahman, our first Prime Minister, was unique. He is an illustration of an ethical leader. He had the guts to stand by his beliefs that the new nation should be multiracial democracy. That's all for me. Next, I will pass the next presenter to present.
Last successful factor Malaysian federalism system is nothing other than the equality through social culture aspect. There are few scholars who believe that the purpose of federalism is originally for maintaining social culture equality by embracing the diversity in a federation. Scholars explain that Malaysian federal institutions concerned with the value of language and understanding to its religion and culture aspect until the federalism in Malaysia was defined as multi-ethnic federalism system by scholars. Malaysian equality of social culture practice in its federalism system can be viewed early in the draft of the federal constitutions. In the content of the proposed draft brought by Tunku Abdul Rahman, it was writing that Malaysia will not only preserve the Malays and Bumiputra privilege, but also protect the fundamental right of other race. The draft was then turned into an official federal constitution for Federation of Malaya.
then continue through Federation of Malaysia, where it can be viewed through Article 153, where it writes the similar content as the draft. Not only then, religions fairness it is also practiced in the federalism system as the federal constitution states in it clearly under Article 3. Only that equality of social culture again expressed in Article 47 where equal qualification for all citizens of Malaysia to be a member of parliament, as the practice by the federal institutions to establish equal participations of voice the idea the parliament. The equal social culture guides from the Malaysian federalism system for the federal institutions it shapes the method of policy making, where we can view the minister bring equality in social culture for policy from the government. For instance, we can see in Section 28 of the Education Act 1996, the minister is provided with option to establish national schools and also national type schools. This not only show the tolerance of our federalism system, but also express equality for the people. This equality of social culture practice in Malaysia federalism system become the success factor of that system to exist in Malaysia up until now.
To sum up, the existence of Federal Constitution of Malaysia is a significant guidance to design a clear and firm system of federalism to be practiced in this federalization, which can be referred in Article 6 at 11, which become a guide to form the pillars of federalism in Malaysia. The Defence Agreement for National Security is a contributor to the success of federalism, where this practice has created a form of security cooperation between each state in the federation, and this form a healthy federalism movement for Malaysian. Next, the result of collaborative government in every level of administration in the federation of Malaysia, including the grassroots level at the local government to be highest level at the federal government, including coordination for the systematic policy formulation between each stage, such as Smart Selangor Action Plan 2035, Prosperous Terengganu Master Plan 2023, and Perlis Digital Plan 2021 until 2025. Other contributors to the success of federalism were the mature leadership result from every era of Malaysian premiership is who create trust, dedication, and determination for the people to practice this federalism system. And the last factor that is a catalyst for the success of federalism in socio-culture equality in the federalism system in Malaysia, which is a balance for stability and harmony in the pluralism of Malaysia, including flexibility in federalism in Malaysia, such as opening space not only for the opening for national school but also including vernacular school that symbolic unity in the Malaysian federalism system.